Welcome to Winning Begins at Home. It's a brand new week. We got brand new content. I'm all fired up. I saw some statistics last week that have me just losing my mind when it comes to family relationships. We're fighting here for families. We're trying to help us win outside of work. We always say if you win at work and you lose at home, you still lose. I hope you're coming to this podcast because you really do want to win outside of work. You want to win from 5 to 9, not just from 9 to 5, if we want to say it that way. And this week, I'm thinking about technology and how technology is just stealing so many families. It's crazy what's happening. And it shouldn't surprise us. I say it shouldn't surprise us. It really doesn't surprise me now that I heard the statistic that I heard last week. This is crazy. In 2010, we had 6 billion people on the planet. Think about that. 6 billion people in 2010. Today, we have 8 billion people. In 2010, we had 1.2 billion devices. So there are 6 billion people, 1.2 billion devices. Today, we have 8 billion people, and we have 30 billion devices. Are you kidding me? Over 4 devices per person. It's pushing 4 per person now. Globally, I mean, think about it. It's crazy. Some people have more than 4, obviously, because there are people that still have very little technology, but most of the people in the world have access to a screen or a device. And it is crazy what's happening. The alarming statistic, as I think about this conversation this week, really as a setup, is that families now, they say, are spending about 37 minutes in meaningful communication a day. In 24 hours, you're only going to talk to somebody in your family about 37 minutes, your spouse, your kid, maybe everybody together at the dinner table occasionally, but it's happening less and less frequently that we're spending time together. And the statistics in America, and again, I know people are listening all over the world here, but we have people in the US that are listening. The statistic for us would be about between 7 and 8 hours of digital time per day in a family, per person in the family. So we're listening to this. We're engaging with, I would say, our digital content all day, pretty much every day, and very little time are we spending with each other. And you know how this plays out, right? We sit down at the dinner table, mom and dad, maybe one of them is preparing the meal and the other one is scrolling back through her work emails, or maybe he's going through his last minute stuff, just gotten home, and the other one's preparing the meal. Maybe they're looking at some social media while they're, got the pasta going. And maybe there's a daughter there that's sharing a little bit about the day, what happened to your day. And I'm listening to my daughter halfway, and I'm looking at my social media halfway, and I'm making sure the pasta doesn't, overcook. And then we sit down at the table, and maybe our son, if we have a son, he's texting his friends under the table. And this happens in millions of homes in the U.S. every single day, where we're distracted by our technology. Our digital distraction is killing dinner time, if you want to say it that way. It's pretty incredible. So let's talk about this week. Let's have a little bit of conversation. And I think you really can make some progress this week. I want to share a couple things with you each day, give you a takeaway, one thing that you can do. I think this is very practical stuff. It's really going to help you win beyond work. If you really want to build a great family, this content this week is going to be so important. So let's talk about a couple things. First of all, I would say the digital economy is stealing our family time. The digital economy is just flat out. You think about those statistics, it is stealing our family time. And you know this, but our devices, I'm holding a device here in my hand. It's got my notes on it as I'm thinking about this conversation. These digital devices are designed to steal our attention, to keep our attention. They really are designed to capture and hold our attention. If you would think about it that way, it's just like never ending. And the truth is, you are using your device pretty much for everything these days. You're using it to text, you're using it for your apps, your social media, your maybe even your digital, you're listening to digital songs, and it's you're taking in news, you're looking at your stock feeds, your bank, your online banking. I mean, there's very few things that we do that are not digital when we think about today's world. And these social media games, all kind of stuff, apps, there's this sophisticated psychology behind it. I've got a family member who is in technology, and man, to hear him explain what's going on behind the scenes in the system is it's pretty scary when you think about it. And when we bring these devices into our family spaces, we're basically, if you want to think about it, we're inviting marketers to come to the table with us. It is crazy to think about it that way. And they're competing with our people that we love the most, the people that are most important to us. We're giving our attention in those moments to people that we don't even know, to buy stuff that we don't even need, and it's going to actually cost us those relationships that are the most sacred. And so this digital economy stealing our family time, please don't buy the lie that you need a phone in your hand to function. You really don't. The second thing I would just remind you today is there is this myth out there that we can multitask, that we can have our phone in our hand, we can be giving our phone attention, or scrolling our social media, liking our friends' feed, all that kind of stuff, and still listening to our daughter. Remember that a minute ago? And the truth is, you really can't do that. You may think you can do both things, and I really do know, Randy, what my daughter's saying. I'm locked in on it. I'm not even really paying that much attention to my social media. Here's what the research would show. Every time we act that way, behave that way, we are communicating to our daughter, we're communicating to our son that they are less important than they really are. We may not be saying our social media is more important than you. I mean, actually, we may be saying that, but we might not be communicating that totally. But what we are saying is that you are not quite as secure and safe in this relationship as you think, because I'm distracted with something else. I'm multitasking. And we really are modeling a behavior that is, at the end of the day, it's psychologically destructive. It is not good for us. It's not the way we want to live. And so I want to encourage you to stop buying this lie that we can multitask. And then the last thing I would say today, and this is kind of where I want to leave us, is I think we have this opportunity to create some sacred spaces. And I know we may not like the word sacred, but the word sacred is just set apart. It's a space that is set apart. It is going to be for whatever we choose to set it apart for. It's like the old, if you want to think about it spiritually here for a second with me, we think about the word sanctification in the Bible, and the word sanctification means that we're set apart. We're set apart for God. We're gonna live our lives for our faith and for the one who created us. And that's that idea of being sanctified. Somebody who's set apart. They're not going to do the things that the world does. And that's a great mindset to have. It's almost like a good picture of this is your toothbrush. Your toothbrush is sanctified, if you want to think about it. It's set apart for you. It's not for somebody else to use. It is your toothbrush. Well, when you think about being sanctified or sacred in the way you handle your technology, are there places in your home that are set apart where it's going to be a tech-free zone? I love to think about it that way. And so what would that look like for you to create a sacred space in your family relationships, or maybe even a sacred time? Now let me give you a couple of examples here, and I want to challenge you to choose one each day that's going to be a sacred space. And so let's think about a couple of things we could do. We could decide that we're going to go to dinner. I say go to dinner, stay home and go to dinner if you really want to create some meaningful conversations. But we can decide that the first 20 minutes of dinner are going to be tech-free. Now, you may be going, that's just dumb. Why don't we make the whole dinner tech-free? Go for it. That's great. But what if we put a basket in the middle of let's say you got an island at your house, and that all the food's being prepped and served there. What if you put a basket in the middle of that island, and every single person puts their technology in the basket? Intentionally, we're saying to each other, hey, we're going to be locked in with each other for these few minutes. And then we can get our technology back out after the dinner. And then we can sit down at a table and we can actually talk to each other and have conversations. And we always used to like I've talked about this before here. We always played the high-low game when the girls were here. The high-low game is tell me your high for the day. Tell me what was hard for you today. What was good? What was not so good? And all of a sudden you start communicating and having conversations with the people around the table. You're not, you're not like locked in on your phone and trying to be locked in on your kids. You really are focused on who's most important. And I think that's so I mean, it's so available to all of us, but it's so powerful when we just choose to be countercultural with this mindset. And there are several places that you could choose. You could make your bedrooms technology free. That would be a sacred space. And one of the things I don't do, I've had to readjust several times through the years, but my technology is not coming into my bedroom. I don't have a television in there. I don't want to take my phone in there. I don't want to take my pad or my computer in there. I want it when I go in my bedroom. I want to make sure that is a sacred space. Your car can be a sacred space. We got our phones in our car. You don't have to do it every day, but you might decide on my ride to work today, I'm going to turn off all the music, turn off all the podcasts, turn off all the stuff. And I'm actually just going to sit in quiet for 17 minutes. And I'm going to do a little thinking here today. We'll think about my family, and we'll think about who needs encouragement. We'll think about where I'm headed and who can I speak life into there. You get to decide what is going to be your sacred space. But when you do this, you're communicating to everybody in your family, we are more important than our technology. And so I want to challenge you to do that. Now, let me leave you today with a final thought as we sort of wrap this up. Technology is not the enemy. I mean, when we think about this, I'm not anti-technology. It's not what I'm saying. Obviously, I'm communicating to you right now through technology. Technology is important. It is only a tool, though. It is not. It's not sacred. It's a tool. It's a tool. And if you know anything about tools, I'm not a big tool guy, but here's what I do know. A hammer can actually tear a house down, or it can build a house. The hammer is not the problem. It's how we use the hammer. It's how we use the technology. And so we want to make sure that we understand it's just a tool. It is not a tool that's designed to tear down our relationships, but it can if we're not careful. And so the question isn't whether we should use technology. It's whether we're using it intentionally in ways that are going to strengthen our relationships, and we're going to put it down at times. We're going to make sure that we're locked in on that, or we're going to strain our relationships if we don't use it correctly. And so tomorrow we're going to explore how constant connectivity is changing the way that families communicate. I hope you'll join us for that. But today, your challenge is create a sacred space, create a sacred time, create an intentional environment where it's going to be tech-free and you're going to be locked in with each other. And I promise you, if you'll do that, your family relationships will begin to change and grow and get back maybe to the place where they once were. You get to choose. I hope you'll choose wisely. Love you guys. Thanks for sharing with your friends and family. I hope you'll subscribe if you've not. Check us out on YouTube, all that stuff. Again, we're gonna work on this week and make sure that we're making progress here. Once you get your phone back in your hand, I hope you'll send me a message and say, "Hey, that really worked," or it didn't work. You know, I may be full of it here. You get to you can tell me whatever you want to, but I hope you'll do some stuff here to make progress in your family life this week. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Remember, winning begins at home.